Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk Fishing with No Limits. Brought to you by Seagar High Performance Braids, 7 reels, created by St. Croix Rods, and Clean Cut Station from Ruffland Kennels. I actually got to use mine today. Had to clean a few fish on the tailgate. So, today we're going to go talk to Mr. Montana himself, Cody Pixley, NWT Pro. Discussed a little bit about the Big Ten Showdown, one of my favorite tournaments of the year, and I believe it's one of Cody's as well. See what's going on over in the Montana area. Talk about his NWT 2025 season, a little bit of 2026, and just get you all know a little about who Cody is. He's been around for a few years now, making waves. Hell of a good guy and a great stick. We fished. He qualified for the championship this year. We're going to focus a little on the Big Ten, and he won that tournament a couple years ago, I believe. And him and I both fished that, and just a really good tournament. We want to tell everybody about a little bit more. And I just dropped a YouTube video on the Walleye Guys YouTube page that showcases that tournament a little bit. Here was just the end of September. Randy Hummel and I fished it. So link on that is down below. It's just a few fish catches and what have you, but just tell you a little bit about what we're using. But you get to see the quality of the fish that are in there, how fat they are, how good color and healthy they are. It's just a great fishery. So, anywho, stay tuned. We're going to dive in deep here with Mr. Cody Pixley.
A little bit about some high performance products that I use, and I'm pretty sure you're going to love it too. It's the Seagar Smackdown braid. There's 3 things about this thin diameter braid that I just absolutely love. 1, it's tough as nails. 2, longest casting, smoothest braid I've ever used. The 8-strand braid, tubular form, just comes off those reels, super smooth, long cast. It doesn't make a lot of noise. It's awesome. And 3, it's super sensitive. No matter what kind of lure or jig I'm throwing out there, I can tell. I've grass, weeds, rocks, sand bottom. I can feel it all right through there into my rod. The stuff is extremely sensitive. So Smackdown comes in 2 colors, high vis and stealth gray. Get yourself some of this stuff and you're gonna get yourself some more of these. Check them out at seagar.com.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk Fishing with No Limits. Today we're heading over to Big Sky Country to talk to Mr. Montana himself, Cody Pixley. What's happening over there? Are we hunting or are we fishing?
So we're kind of in a week between, actually. Like, archery season ended last Sunday, and rifle opens on this Saturday. So a couple days here, and I'm headed for the mountain. So one more day of work, and then I'm headed for the mountain for a good 4 or 5 days. So should be.
We're chasing elk, I assume.
Yep, elk hunt.
Yep. So archery elk is over.
Yep.
All right, then now rifles all split up, right? You probably buy units and all that kind of jazz, where it's just here's the season. And
Montana's like it's as easy as it gets, man. Like, bow hunting's a month or a month and a half or whatever it is, about a month and a half, and then there's a 5-day in between. Bow hunting closes on a Sunday, and rifle hunting opens the following Saturday, and then it's open through always a Sunday of Thanksgiving every year. So we have the next month in some change, basically. Yeah. So, yeah, no, it's pretty straightforward in Montana. There's not a bunch of weird zones, this, that, the other. Like, general season's pretty just wide open. So, yeah, getting ready to deer that. And bird hunting just opened up too. Upland opened up last weekend, and waterfalls open as well too. So I do a lot.
You got a surprising amount of birds up there on Upland, don't you?
Yeah, it's kind of a little, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a secret, I guess, or it's just not as known or as popular as, the Dakotas, obviously. Right. Like, you get out into eastern Montana up there, even central Montana, like, there's plenty of birds to be had on a good year. I think we kind of had a little bit of I think we had a good hatch, but there were some hailstorms early on and some heavy rains. So it sounds like the numbers are down this year, which, when the numbers are down out here compared to where you guys are at, it's
right.
noticeable, right? It's more noticeable, probably.
Yeah. I have some of my mountaintop friends that are out of Utah. They bird hunt, but they go to Montana. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of birds. And North Dakota really is a hidden gem too. I mean, South Dakota is known for birds, but we released millions of them in the preserves, and then we just have a ton of habitats. So there's a lot of birds. Yeah. But North Dakota really has, and that's not such a secret no more. I know quite a few guys are going North Dakota. I mean,
Yeah. I grew up, we used to take trips up there, you know, grandparents or my grandpa, my aunt, my uncles, my dad, my cousins, whatever. Every year we'd take like a week trip out there. It was right around like those MEI days or whatever they were in school. We got like a couple days off in October. We went every year for like a week, and we always went to North Dakota, that Dickinson, Killdeer, you know, that general area. It was all, we moved every year, but like it was always in that general area. And once the oil boom happened, it kind of, you know, there's just way too many people. Everything got posted up because, you know, there's just that many more people out there. But yeah, we had a lot of good memories of doing that when I was a kid. So before I could even hunt, really. So
that's awesome. You're centrally located in a great place to hunt and fish. So
yes, it's right out. It's whatever I want to do, basically. You know, it's kind of weird. You got to travel a little bit just because Montana is such a giant state, but like,
right.
We're so used to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like Fort Peck Dam from here is 6 hours for me. I make that trip some summers 10 times a summer, 8 times a summer, you know. Jeez. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me anymore.
Right.
Like, it's just what you do. So like driving long distances to go fishing and hunting, it doesn't really, I don't know. You learn to get used to it, I guess. So.
Well, with the NWT schedule, what it was this last year, you know, all about driving long distance. So that was, I didn't fish it because I didn't want to drive, but you had to drive twice as far as I did versus anywhere. So
yeah, it was, that New York one was kind of brutal. That one was pretty bad. It's funny. Like, you know, I've done it 2.5 years now. I fished about a dozen events, and the 20-hour trips to, you know, Wisconsin or even Minnesota or the 18, 19, that's nothing. That's cake. Like that's nothing. You get into like, you get over 21 and they start getting to be a little much. Second guessing yourself, especially on the way home. If you didn't do real well, you're going.
Oh yeah. You can't get home fast enough. Yep.
Across the country and like nothing to show for it here. So yeah, they give you time to reflect. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. There's a lot of we all get a lot of windshield time, but I think anybody, whether you're fishing bass or walleye or whatever the circus may be, you're gonna have some miles. So
yeah,
I mean that's all there is to it. Get a comfortable truck and if you're like me, carry all the tools you got so you can fix the trailers because they all blow out. So
yeah, I carry more than the average person when it comes to those long trips. You know what I mean? As far as tools and spare this, spare that, it's like. I'm not, you know, I'm a long ways from home when I get to where I'm going, and I even put the boat on. So it's like I make sure I have everything that I might need, you know. So
yeah, it's inevitable. I mean, the roads are, especially when you go east, the roads suck when you're heading to Erie, and you're going to bounce and do all sorts of things. And I mean, our boats are great, our trailers are as good as they can make them, but things happen, especially when you got to. It's the worst thing is when you go east and you got to pay all the tolls for all these roads, and they're the worst roads.
Terrible.
I mean, it's inevitable
this year. In the entire, like, you got to pay at the beginning of Indiana, and you got to pay when you get out of Indiana, and the entire thing was a construction zone. And I'm like, what? Why am I paying for this? You know what I mean? But it's the only way to go, and it's what you do, I guess. I don't know. When I'm heading that far east, and I'm starting to come home, you know, on the back end of the trip, all I can think about, you know, about Chicago, all I can think about is like Fargo, North Dakota. I'm like, get me to Fargo, North Dakota. Because Fargo home, it's just set it at 83 and just you can zone out and look at antelope or do whatever you want. You're like, you don't even got to pay attention hardly compared to Chicago and Cleveland and oh my gosh.
You know you live in Montana when you're looking forward to get to Fargo. So
you're more than halfway home when you do that.
Yep. That is, I love it up there. That's good country. We before we get into some other things, for those that don't know, Cody's been fishing NWT for 2.5 years or more now. So kind of, you know, I wouldn't say a new guy or not, but up and coming. He made the championship this year. He had a good run, good finish. You've done well. What are you doing when you're not fishing, and what got you into jumping into the NWT?
Gotcha. Yeah. When I'm not fishing, I'm probably hunting majority of the year. And when I'm not hunting and or fishing, I'm working. I own a small little crane business, my own business here in just outside of Bozeman, Montana, where I live. And so I'm running around, and like right now is my busiest time of the year, kind of like end of summer, early fall, right before the snow starts to fly. You know, I do a lot of stuff in construction, and so guys are just chomping at the bit to get stuff closed in before the snow starts. And so like, yeah, I'm slammed right now, but a lot of work when I'm not hunting or fishing. And then I don't know, my wife and I get out skiing a little bit in the wintertime when work slows down and there's no hunting, there's no fishing. So we get out skiing a decent amount. And I play hockey, once a week, pretty much all winter long still, not like I used to, but it keeps me in shape. But my wife looks at me and says, well, you go play hockey for an hour and a half and then you drink beers in the locker room. So it doesn't really add up. And I'm probably not.
Oh, sure it does. You get that heart rate going. It's just like the guys that play softball all summer long. It's good for you.
Yep.
Most importantly, it keeps your mind right in the long winter, which you definitely have a little bit longer winter out there than I do.
Yes, we do.
Running a crane, so everybody's trying setting a bunch of trusses right now, trying to get roofs wrapped up. And
Yep. All the construction guys are, like I said, the snow's coming, so they're chomping at the bit to get things dried in and stuff. So the phone blows up this time of the year, and I'm pretty darn busy. So I probably shouldn't be taking a few days off to go elk hunting next week. But it's kind of funny, like everybody's taking time to go off.
Right.
I'm off to go elk hunting. I'm not the only one. Like the framers are doing it too. So it's like
this is
everybody. It's like a national event or national holiday.
I was gonna say it's state holiday out there, so it's just everybody knows when it goes right to voicemail. They're like, he's elk hunting.
Yeah,
all right. Well, they're like, all right, we'll take the week, a few days off too. We'll get back to this house next week. And I used to frame, so we always had our crane operator as well in the same situation. Let's get these things going. Let's get it wrapped. It's a small company. Maybe it's just you at a crane, but that is no small skill set by all means. I was a CB in the military as well, and we operated cranes, and it's a lot of work. And it's a skill set. You have a lot of liability, and you definitely got to know what you're doing.
Yeah. You get a rap of being the fat lazy guy sitting in the crane, but it's you can set it up, tear it down 4 or 5 times a day, job site to job site. It's pretty physically demanding. You do sit a lot, but like when you're not sitting, you're throwing stuff around and moving, and it's been a good job. I like it, and like being out of my own. I've been out of my own about 4 years now, which is kind of what led me to being able to go do some of the NWT stuff is like, creating my own schedule. I worked for an outfit out of Bozeman here for 10 plus years or right around 10 years. And, I could get time off, but like, man, I could never take off what I do now to go fish those NWTs. Even though everybody here thinks I take the entire summer off to go fishing because that's all they think I do. But, it's 4 or 5 weeks. And so it's nice to be able to create my own schedule and be able to, get out there and do those. So.
Yeah, it's really, I think there's quite a few guys that, work for companies, whatever, but a lot of the guys are self-employed. They have whatever kind of companies, insurance, fishing guides, crane operators, realtors, whatever the case is, because it's tough to get a 5-week, time off plus whatever else. And, that's a big problem for the co-anglers, especially because they don't even know that they're in.
Yeah, for sure.
Until a week out. So
a lot of guys that are self-employed, it seems like they run around and do those. So
whatever your skill or experience level is as an angler, you deserve a fishing reel that contributes to your success and satisfaction on the water and never detracts from it. When the makers of St. Croix rods, 7 Reels, spelled SEVIIN, is born of 7 decades of design and manufacturing expertise, industry-leading angler support, and the American family ownership dating back to 1977. 7 Reels are designed and crafted for high performance and unrelenting reliability. Verified at least 16 different ways by extreme torture testing at 7's one-of-a-kind Park Falls, Wisconsin laboratory. 7 Reels are also proven on the water by the most demanding professional guides and tournament anglers. So by the time a 7 reaches your hands, it's ready for anything you throw at it. Guaranteed by the best and easiest warranty in the industry. Disappointment happens, but there should never come as a result of your reel. 7 Reels are tested, proven, and guaranteed to be the most reliable on the planet. Check out the entire lineup at 7reels.com. Financial freedom, but as you know, being a self-employed guy doesn't mean you're making all the money, and it doesn't mean you get to work less. It's usually quite the opposite. You work a lot.
And like one of the hardest parts is like when I'm not working, when I'm fishing and I'm not working, I'm not making any money. So like when I go to these tournaments, especially in Dunkirk, New York, or the Sioux, or wherever I'm traveling, and spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, it's like I need to be able to cash a check, or just to even like try to justify it, because we all know at the end of the day, you and I both, like, we're not making money doing this. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like, if you can cash a check, it makes it a little bit more justifiable. But like, even at the end of the day, you don't want to look at those numbers.
No, it doesn't hurt as bad. I mean, and with the low number turnout last year, I mean, if you got one of the the lower checks, you're like, I probably didn't even break even at this point, not counting the week off of work, just travel and entry.
Yeah, I try not to think about the week off of work. I just try to think about the money that I spent getting there, the tournament fee and everything else. And if I can make that up or a majority of that up, I'm pretty happy, So
I hear you. This year's schedule has obviously it's got to look better for as far as where we're going for you, especially in your travel. I mean, we got Sakakawea and Walleye both on there, which are reasonably close and as close can be for you outside of Fort Peck. But
no, it's cool to see. It's cool to see the Western reservoirs on there, or reservoirs on there. That's nice. That's obviously appealing. And then the travel is not too terrible. Like Green Bay a couple times, which Big Bay, that's kind of a poke. You're looking at I want to say probably 23-ish hours for me, 22 maybe, but it's, I don't know. From me to Minneapolis is nothing anymore. That's nothing, right? And once you get to Minneapolis, it's we're just shooting across Wisconsin quick and we're there, So even those two don't really faze me as much, or I'm not too worried about them this year.
That Wisconsin drive is weird.
Yeah.
You can't go fast.
Right.
You're on these little tiny highways, but it's all broken up. So there's kind of some scenery, I guess, versus just going through Iowa or South Dakota on the interstate or something. So it's kind of, I don't know, it seems like it kind of goes quick, but then you're always like, where the hell am I in the middle of Wisconsin?
Yeah. It takes a little bit longer to cross there than you think it's going to, but it's still not, it's not Northern Michigan. It's not the UP, because those are some drives that'll make you pull your hair out. You're looking at a map on the big picture. You're going, I'm not that far away. But now I just hit a 2-lane highway and the speed limit's 55, and it's like this for the next 7 hours. And I'm like, gosh, that's brutal. You're begging for an interstate when you get up there and you're cruising on those 2-lane highways.
We vacationed up to this year, and I think it was from Sioux Falls, 12-hour drive.
Okay.
So, and then we came straight home, but we broke it up on the way up, just to make it not such a long drive with our 16-year-old daughter, who had no problem. She's way better at that stuff than me. About 8 hours, I'm like, I'm good. My back hurts, but she was fine.
I'm somehow sore from sitting. Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah. Yep. Fortunately, I'm getting old enough. We got to stop and pee enough. So I got to get up and stretch my legs so much. Yeah. We just got back, just fished my favorite tournament of the year. One of yours as well. You got some hardware right behind you. Big Ten Showdown. You won it in 2022. Looks like you got third place. What, last year? Last year. We just wrapped that up, folks. It was end of September. They moved it up a week this year. I think Jeff had some stuff going on in Canada, and I don't know if it's still unseasonably warm in Montana, but it was 65, 70 degrees, down here today. And it was 85 degrees, I think, up there for that tournament.
Yeah, it was in the 80s most of the days we were there. They bumped it forward. I think part of it was Jeff had something going on, but I think he might keep it there because, and it's going to slip my mind. There's a big tournament just north of there that is a big tournament. They pay out $100,000 for that tournament when it fills. And it was the same weekend. It had been falling on the same weekend as the Big Ten for the last 3-4 years. And Jeff figured he's probably losing some votes to that. So I know that was part of the reason too why he switched it forward. And I don't know if the weather's going to be like that every year. I guess we can't really complain because there's been times when, like you said, we were talking before this, there's been snow on the ground at the boat ramp, and so to be 80 degrees and I didn't bring enough shorts. I was wearing pants. It's too warm. I actually fished it with a buddy of mine who'd never been there and who had never fished a tournament, but he's heard the horror stories of the weather that I've over the years.
It's always windy, right?
It's always windy, and we get there and it's beautiful for 4 days, and he's like, this isn't quite what you told me it was. And I'm like, come back next year.
Yeah. Wait till day one. Oh, it got postponed today because of the 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
And it was a great pre-fish. I think the water temp was still 70 almost, wasn't it? Or upper 60s or something? I can't remember. 60.
I don't know. Some of the Lawrence guys had a little bit warmer temps than I did. A guy we were staying by, a buddy of mine, from Fort Peck. But they were upper 60s. Dang near cracking 70 every day. So pretty unseasonably warm for sure. Yeah,
and I guess I even was like, we're going to need to get night crawlers. I've never brought night crawlers to that tournament before. It's chubs and minnows and cranks and jigging wraps and plastics, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So it was, which I don't think I think I did grab some crawlers, but I don't think I got anything on them. The minnows were working, so we just kind of stuck with it for a while. It is a For you that don't know, Big Ten, it's called the Big Ten Showdown, Big Ten Championship on Lake Sakakawea. Tries to go out of Lewis and Clark State Park on the west end. I guess Willingston would be the closest town.
Yeah.
Jeff Clark puts it on. Great guy. Does this just because he likes to do it. The chamber helps a lot, gets a ton of great volunteers, pro guys, a ton of great sponsorships. A lot of the big oil companies are up there. The problem is we can't get 100 boats in it. I think the first year we had 100, and it seems like we've been in that mid to upper 60s almost every year since.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of, I don't know. I think it was partially just unfortunate timing for Jeff. I think that first year was, I want to say it was 2019, 18.
Sounds
19.
about right.
It was right.
Yeah,
before
probably 19 because it was COVID was the next year, I think, right?
He's what he, like Jeff said, once COVID hit, it's just kind of not been the same as far as boat numbers.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. You hear rumors, guys complain that the river shut off, this and that. But I mean, it's a great tournament. It's a fun tournament. Even with the wind and the weather, it's still a great tournament. And not only that, but like there's guys that run out there. It's one of the biggest checks you can cash in the state of North Dakota every year. It's $30,000 to the win if they fill it. And even they haven't been filling it, and it's still $20,000+ to win that thing. I mean, that alone you think would get guys out there.
When I saw that, that totally caught my eye. That's why I got in it, right away. And then an old friend from that area called and said, "Hey, you want to fish it?" And he had his sponsors paying the entry, and it's $1,000 entry. So, team $500 person. I'm like, yeah, sure. And then, it didn't do great. First day we were there, I got like 12 pounds. I'm like, we're in the mid 20s. And that first year they had it, a lot of guys went way south into Newtown and had 20-pound bags.
Yeah.
But I'm like, consistency. That's why we do 2-day tournaments. Coming the next day with like 12, 13 pounds again. And he's like, we're in like fourth. I'm like, what? No way. Well, those guys that had 20 pounds zeroed on the second day. So, because that wind blew it, muddied it up. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you do 2-day tournaments. And if you saw that this year, we had two 20-pound bags or 21-pound bags, monster fish. I mean, typically we're looking at a 6 to 8 pounder for big fish in the tournament.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. There's usually 2, maybe 3 caught a day, basically, or like 2 or 3 caught on the first day, and then usually 1 the second day or something like that,
Yep. And then this year we have a 13.33 pounder caught on the first day. So they had almost like 21 pounds. So they had some good fish go with it. And then the second day was another 11.5 pounder or something.
Yeah, crazy.
But the crazy thing is neither one of those teams won.
That was the crazy part, is neither one of those teams won. I believe one guy took third.
It's second and fifth, I think, maybe.
Yeah, or maybe second and fifth. That's what it was.
But that big fish went to fifth because I think they only had like 3 or 4 pounds on the second day.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Sorry, you could probably hear my puppy in the background going bananas on a toy. Speaking away. Yeah, no, I went and fished that tournament one of the first years. I believe it was the first year that they had it. And we didn't know what we were doing. We'd never been there. We had no clue. We talked to a local guy, or a guy from out eastern Montana, that told us to come over. And so we went over there. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't do well at all. And I think I took a couple of years off. It was COVID year. And then I think the year I skipped, and then I went back, and I told the guy that I fished with from, he's a Valier, Montana, my partner that won it with me. I told him, I said, man, I look back at the results, and I said, man, we get 15 pounds a day, and we're going to win. So,
yep.
And that's what we did. We went out and got 15, like almost dead even the first day, I want to say, and like 15.3 or something the second day.
Consistency. I mean, that's just how the people think like Sakakawea, you need 30 pounds. Well, so for those who don't know, the boundary is Newtown Bridge and up. And it used to be you could go all the way up into Willingston and up the river, but Jeff took that little river section out of, which I don't think you could have even went up it this year anyway, a couple times because the water's so low.
Yeah, this year I don't think we could have.
And so it was like, what is that, 30, 40 miles maybe of the lake?
It's about 30. Yeah, it's about 30.
So, which makes it, if it's not blowing 30, 40 miles an hour, you can get around pretty good. And there's a lot of fish up in that area. It's just not a lot of those 8 to 10 pounders. Of course, this year there is. But overall, the weights were down considerably, except for the guys that were in the money.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that last year. I noticed like the majority of the fish that we were catching had gotten smaller kind of like over the last few years. And it was the same thing this year. But this year, for some reason, there was just, I don't know why, but there was bigger fish mixed in there as well. The bigger fish than you normally get there too.
I caught we caught more. I think I caught more bigger fish.
Did you?
At practice. I mean, we had about 15 pounds on our first day of practice within a few hours.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, and I was scoping and pitching some jigs shallow and got them. Then we cranked and had a couple doubles, and I was weighing them, and they were but they were some super, super fat, like 19, 20 inchers.
Yeah.
And then we had some 22s and 23s. I'm like, oh, well, we can do this 15.
Yeah.
My bow scale said like 14 even, and then their scales were a pound heavier than on mine were every day. So I would say we had, 15 pounds in by noon, or whatever it was. And maybe we had 12. Then later I weighed another one, and it was like at 2 or 3 o'clock. We caught another big one. So
gotcha.
I'm like, well, these are all right. These fish were fat, but then, come tournament time, I had like a 9 and 11. So they were smaller days, but I still caught, like, each day the first fish was a 3 to 4 pounder.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, all right. But there definitely was a morning window.
Yeah, for sure. And it died like, I want to say like noon to 1 o'clock every day. It died, and it died for.
It died. Yeah, it did.
Where you had to be in for the day. And we knew that going out. We're like, no, we got to get them early, because if we don't get them early, we're not going to get them in the afternoon. And it held true. Like, it was tough in the afternoon for sure. Like, it was 3 hour in the window in the morning, and that was about it. So
I think Jeff did a boat check on us second day, and we were like, our jigging, our scoping spot was all kind of muddy. It wasn't working. So we said, let's just go crank. And we had we weighed in at 10 o'clock. We didn't go out till 9 on the second day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. And then later he came back. I'm like, nah, we still got the same fish. That was it. Nothing ever got any better. So
it was brutal. When it died, that's for sure. And it was just such a weird year. There was no wind hardly. I mean, it was super muddy, super shallow if you went west. I think it's a little bit early for those fish from like the Van Hook area to start coming up there, especially with bumping the tournament forward. I think it's a little early for those fish to be down there on the east end yet. But yeah, there was definitely some fish mixed in between. We got most of ours. Well, we didn't have a great year. I don't know what we finished. I should have looked before I even got hopped on here, but I want to say it was like 18th or 17th or something like that. Traditionally I've cranked that tournament quite a few times, just because when you're out there in 6 footers, and this is before I got better at live scoping and like went and fished 6-7 footers on Erie, which is a completely different ball game when you're fishing a Western reservoir. You're fishing suspended fish out east, and it's like, oh, I can fish these in 6-7 footers, no big deal. You go out on Sakakawea and you're trying to fish on the bottom, and it gets a little harder for sure, So I've cranked that tournament a bunch. We have caught plenty of fish pitching jigs and plastics and crawlers and whatever else too, but day one we committed to cranking, and it was a mistake. We didn't, I don't even know what we had day one, 9 pounds or something like that. But day two, we were just like, whatever, we're leaving those at home and we're just going to go live scoping. And we had a better day and we did pretty good. Just turned out that everybody else did pretty good too,
Yeah. No, we were the opposite. We live scoped day one and then went to cranking on day two because it just didn't work. We spent a 3 hours in the morning, got a scope, and I'm scoping. Randy's in the back pitching and dragging, and I'm like, they're there. They are not reacting or moving, but I'm like, it's too dirty. The water's, we're in like 6 to 8 foot of water. I'm like, it's just too dirty, So I cranked through it before we left and popped a couple, but they were small. Yeah. I probably should have been casting a crankbait, looking back. And then we're like, let's just go to this other spot where we know there's some fat ones. And immediately, boom, first roll in and bam, a 3.5 pounder. But that was like right at the end of the morning bite.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, there was a bite window, and when it died, it died. And you were not going to get them to go. I think we tried it. We tried putting cranks on, and we tried going deeper, casting deeper, pitching super shallow. Like they just shut off. And then like that 3-4 o'clock, right about the time you had to think about going in, it's fire again, and you could get them. And in day two, we actually ended up we needed one fish. We both pitched out at the same time, and we're like, the boat's running. I'm like, we got to go. We need one fish. We both pitched out at the same time, opposite sides of the bow of the boat, and both hooked up at the same exact time. And I'm like, which one's bigger? Yours bigger, mine? Yeah. Both kind of boat flipping. We're like, this one's bigger. Threw it the live well. We're like, all right, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. I was surprised where I saw a lot of guys fishing. I don't know where the winners were fishing or what they were doing. We went up river. We had a milk run spot east of White Earth. But a lot of guys, were just straight across on those bluffs. I think that's where the big ones were caught. And we made a patch through there, and I saw some fish, and pulled cranks this one pass and caught some dinks. I'm like, I'm not really marking very many fish here compared to these few other spots.
Right.
I mean, we had a trolling pass along antelope that really nobody else was on. A couple guys were jigging wrapping it, and we could just pick up all the 15, 18 inchers you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. And those 18s are key. Like, you know, that year we won it in 22, it was 18s and 19s, but they're averaging 3 pounds. You know, there's not very many skinny fish in that system. They're
No.
big, you know, they're fat. And one thing I noticed this year too, which again, I don't know why we cranked on day one because we knew they were shallow, but like there was definitely a minnow hatch going shallow. Like they were spawning shallow, and you could see just giant clouds of these spot tail shiners.
Yep.
And that's what they were in there eating on. But like we were catching fish in 2 to 3 feet of water. We were catching fish in like 8, 9 feet of water on day two, when we were pitching and scoping. Never really went out any deeper than that, but I know, but you know, a guy would pass by me in 35 feet of water cranking, and he'd pick one up, and it was a good one. And I'm like, they're everywhere. I don't know. You know, it's just like,
yeah, we cranked in 14 to 18 foot.
Yeah.
Was our best crank bite for big fish. But yeah, pitching was 6 to 8, maybe 4 foot.
Yeah.
Should have, I guess, tried that in a bunch of different, but we caught him out deep too. I mean, I would scope it, and Randy's whipping a jig and wrap out in the middle of nowhere, and he was getting hooked up more than I was scoping, just blind casting because there was enough fish around. So we did up by Newtown. We hit some islands and stuff up there, and did pop a couple nice, 22s on jig and wraps up real shallow too. So
yeah,
they were just, they were everywhere. And obviously when you can find them shallow, that's good because they're usually feeding, like you said, they were eating all that minnow hatch of shiners and stuff. But what a fun tournament. Can't wait for it again next year. It's 67 boats, but teams, but there's hammers. I mean, people that are fishing that
every year.
And I think Jeff said there was more people coming from out of state almost than there was locals fishing this year.
He said, he's like, man, there's so many guys coming from out of state this year. We might have the locals beat. He's like, so I'll work on that. He said, but keep kind of trying to bring guys from Montana, and I don't know. He really likes them. I get a few guys from Montana committed to coming. We lost a few guys this year, but we gained a couple others. And I mean, there's usually a good half dozen to 10 boats from Montana in it every year.
Oh yeah.
Which is,
for sure. I'm trying, like hell. I tell all these guys and all sorts of them, but they're all like, "Oh, that sounds great." And a couple of them were going to go, but they just get burned out, by then, or what the case is. And maybe it's earlier now. We don't have the horror stories of all the cold and wind, but whatever the case is. And
that's the thing. And they're like, "Oh, is that tournament where you're fishing in 5 footers, 6 footers, and it's brutally cold?" I'm like, "Yep, that's the one. It's really fun. You do it." And they're like, "No,
that's awesome, man.
You can win a lot of money. That's kind of the high end of it all. You can win a lot of money." So,
but you don't have to scope for people that are worried about going against. They're like, "Oh, there's half a dozen NWT pros in it, and they're just going to scope."
You can any way you want.
You can fish them however you want. Scoping's a little tricky up there, actually. It is a
little tricky up there. That's for sure. Like, we spent more time this year probably than ever scoping it, just because whatever. Like I said, I'm getting better at it. I'm getting more confidence in it. And that's like I spent more time scoping this year than I probably have in recent years. And I mean, it paid off. I proved to myself that we could do it. You know what I mean? So like next year, looking into it, it's like, man, I'm probably just going to dive right into that, and I probably won't do anything else really. I mean, I
would
definitely
full on. Told Randy we're going to go. He's like, "No, man, scope." He goes, "You go up front. I'll pull chubs or rig or whatever in the back." And we, humble fish NWT, it just works well for us. Or I'm like, if I'm crushing them up front, you're going to come up front. We'll both throw at them. Yeah. And like my first cast, boom, I got one.
Yeah.
It was a little one, but I'm like, all right. And then just continued that first day of practice, kind of, smashing on him. But the second day he caught more than I did by blind casting. So.
Yeah, no, it sounded like a lot of guys that weigh in. Jim Carroll does the emceeing for the weigh-in, which he's a great dude. Does a good job. It's awesome. And but it sounded like a lot of those local guys were chubbing. So I'd see them out there, like there'd be a guy scoping out of the front, guy in the back would be chubbing. But a lot of those guys, when they came into weigh in, especially some of those bags that were up top, most of them said like we're getting them chubbing, like we're getting these bigger fish on chubs. So we never tried it, but. I don't know.
I had some and didn't. We didn't. I don't know. We didn't chub. I always chub a lot when I'm up there, and I had quite a few of them, and we didn't chub. We were, we'd mix up. All right, let's take a break from scope, and we'll go cranking. Every time we cranked, it was like just bam, bam numbers and good fish. I'm like, this is a lot more fun when you got a partner in the boat, versus the guy sitting in the back, even though Randy's like, whatever it takes, and we're both like, we're pretty consistent. We're getting doubles, of like 19, 20-inch fish. Like kind of,
that's when it's fun.
Yeah.
But
kind of hard not to.
No, just an all around super well run tournament though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
I think they kind of got a curveball thrown at them this year with, having to have it at White Earth.
Yep.
And so, I don't think he had it quite as maybe good as far as like, just like, helpers and this and that and like the dock situation, but it was all new, I think it was all like, he kind of had to do it on the fly, really. He had like a week or two heads up. So like, the store at the campground was closed, but he told me, he goes, 100% they're going to be open next year. Cause it sounds like they're going out of White Earth again next year.
I'm down with it.
That's what he told me. So,
okay.
And who knows, that could change, but he said that he guarantees that if he does go out of White Earth next year, that, the store will be open there, the base store, they'll have fuel, they'll have everything. Like if you want to go camp there and they have plenty of camping spots, you don't have to leave, and there's houses, you can get Airbnbs and whatever else.
Yeah. But there's a lot of houses there. I didn't realize that. And it's called the Lewis and Clark Big Ten Showdown. He's going to have to rename it to the White Earth Big 7 or something like that, whatever it is. But, I
think it's weird that there's not going to be enough water in the lake again next year.
He
talked to somebody and it sounded like it probably wasn't going to get better this next season. I guess part of that probably has to do with how much snow we get out here this winter, which that'll help. But so he kind of made it sound like it's probably going down there again next year. So he just said, he's like, it'll be way more organized and I'll have my ducks in a row a little bit because, like I said, they kind of sprung it on him, or I think he kind of like last second made the decision to switch it and move it. But I mean, it was still ran great and like everything went well. And, the live weigh-in stage, that's the other cool part about it too, is like, out here in Montana, there are 0 live weigh-in tournaments, 0.
Right.
All catch, picture, release, whatever, weigh boat. And so it's cool just to do another one at the end of the year that's the live weigh-in, and it's, they're becoming fewer and further between. And so I feel like we probably better take advantage of them while we still have them, kind of thing. And
right on. And those fish aren't out of the water long. I mean, they do pretty quick. Carol's pushing us through there, but to give in the air, talking it up and taking all the time it needs to take. It's a pretty smooth process, I think. Jeff does a great job with all the volunteers. So
he's told me, like the mortality rate on that tournament, and it's nothing. Like, they don't lose.
Right.
Like it's the water's cold enough. It's late enough in the year. Like you said, you're up, they're in the live well, you take them out, you weigh them. It's 3 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. They're back in the water and down in the lake and everything's golden. So, no, they do a really well, really good job of running that tournament.
And the rules meeting is fairly quick. There was a lot less door prizes this year, I noticed, but I don't care because it's a steak and potato freaking meal that the fire department cooks, and it's phenomenal. It is good. I told them, you don't need to spend that much money, man. We'd be happy with burgers and, chips or whatever, which you may have to go to that with the cost of the beef going up. But I'm like, they do a good job.
He's getting spendy, but that's the best part is like, the rules meeting's great. They always have a ton of door prizes. Like you said, this year's a little bit down, but we still got a pretty decent amount of stuff. And then, the steak and potato dinner, you can't beat that. And, there's a bar in the corner. You can go have beer, whatever you want. So like, no, he does it upright. Like you said, he does it all. He's not making any money off the thing, In fact, I'm pretty sure he loses money on the thing.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
All he wants is he wants to see it full. Like that's all he wants. He's like, I just want to see it full and it do well. So hopefully, hopefully this will help. And like next year we can get a few more boats in that thing. So
yeah, I know. Well Pro we all got coolers. I think Cody got gift cards from AFCO. Everybody got like $25 or $50 or $50, I think, from AFCO per team or whatever. There's just
one of those.
Yeah, just stuff. Just a ton of support. What a great tournament. Great guy. Bunch of hammers. Good sticks. And like you said, it's it's a big payout. Or something you can always. You got 30 miles of lakes. 2 days of practice is probably good enough. I mean, I know guys that were there a lot longer than that, and they didn't do any better. So, they were like, I don't know, things were changing. Water clearly was a little kind of a thing I think you needed to look for, this year, but there was clearly plenty of bites at, areas that we missed. So,
no, it's a challenge. I mean, like, I think a lot of the local-ish North Dakota guys, they call that the river. They say, anything above the bridge is the river, which it's not technically river.
Right.
I don't know. Look, it's a lake to me. It's a reservoir to me, but
right.
they all call it the river. So like, yeah, no, like it changes. It can change overnight. You get a west wind and it blows, like we said, when it blows, it blows. And so like, it can muddy up the whole thing, or if it blows out in the east, the opposite, or like if the Yellowstone, like if we get early snow here in Montana and the Yellowstone blows out, like that, it affects, you'll see it there 2 days later. You know what I mean? Like that muddy water out of the stone will mix in with the stuff out of Missouri and the confluence there, and it's in the mouth of the lake before you know it. So,
well, that's a couple of the guys told me that's where the dirty water was coming from. They're like, oh, it's all coming out of the Yellowstone. I'm like, oh, where the hell's that coming at? Because you could see it. There was plumes of water, and we could see it, driving. I'm like, nope. And we were just moved because we just weren't having much for luck in that dirty water.
Yeah. That confluence where Missouri and the Yellowstone meet is just, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but it's 20 miles kind of southwest of Williston right there. We drive kind of right by it when we go back home because we go down dive on the interstate. But the confluence is right there where those two meet and dump into the lake. So
rivers.
Yeah.
That's why I love them, though, because they're always changing and they're a challenge, and yet they're awesome. So
there's plenty of current. It's always changing, but as I said, it makes it fun. It's kind of a challenge. I mean, and it should be. Like, you're giving away $30,000 to the top boat. Like, it's challenging. It really is. I've had a decent amount of success there, but it changes every year. This year was the wildest year that I'd seen out there. Like, just completely different, and that was probably due to the warm weather and the warm water.
Yeah.
But it was completely different from anything I've seen the previous 5 years, 6 years. So it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you,
It does. It does.
You're going to be doing one thing in one area, and I checked it 5 times, and it wasn't a little area. And I'm like, where are they at? And I talked to a local guy that I know there, and I'm like, where are they at? And he's like, I don't know. I was fishing it. They're not there, and I don't know where these fish are. And I do. Oh yeah. So it always changes, man.
Yeah, I hit a few of those spots too. I'm like, oh, there should be some here, and nope, there wasn't. We still caught our fish at a typical, honey hole that I guess everybody kind of fishes, but there really wasn't that many people fishing it. I was a little further upriver. A lot of guys were straight across, or kind of really on that lower, I guess, lower east end of the
upper end,
whatever.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of guys straight across. I mean, there is every year, but there was more this year. Obviously, just it was super shallow. I guess if you got too far west, it was super shallow, super muddy. That usually holds a decent amount of boats down there. But I think with how low the water was, I think more guys just kind of congregated straight across from White Earth right there,
which is nice because I think we only went 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it got one there, and it was like a mile across the lake, so you weren't making it.
Nope, and the shotgun start, so you could spread out, and some guys were spread out so far. I'm like, I think they're probably already fishing because they're on the other side, and that's right where they're fishing. Yeah. So I'm sure he said go, and they turned their trolling motor to a little left and went, all right, we're good, So
we watched the day one from the boat, and it was pretty funny. Guys are just spread both ways, further, and then boom, but it's cool how he does it. I mean, it's a great spot in the river or the lake for it. There's plenty of room. Everybody can spread out and like go slow if you want to go slow, go fast if you want to go fast. And there's people that gripe about it, but people that gripe about it if you do it however which way.
Well, Jeff tells me what the rules mean. And if you're on the slower side, hang out, let the fast guys go. And I was going 63, 64, but there was somebody, I think it was at a yard craft, and there was nobody catching him. He was on the way inside of me, and it was go, and after it takes just a little bit, then it goes. Then I was kind of cruising and, fairly up in the top couple, 3 boats. But that guy I'm like, he's gone. He's going 75 or something. And I asked George, he's like, oh, that's so-and-so. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't even see him after about 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, there's a couple boats out there. There was one boat in particular. I don't probably get the guy in trouble. There's a boat out there. I don't know if it's 622 or 621. I hope it's a 622, but it's got a 500R on it.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I went, first off, like, I don't know who put that on there for him because I'm guessing the dealership did. 2, I'm like, there's no way that's actually a 500R. I'm like, it's got to be like a cowling, like you guys got a 400R or something. He's got a 500R cowling. Like, that's funny. I lined up not too far from him, and that's a 500R. That guy was.
Yep.
And I was doing, I was doing 68, 67. I'm flying right along, and I'm like, this guy is flying. You know, he was gone.
Well, that's why I asked you. I think he said the guy that I saw this year had a 450R.
Yeah.
I think it's on a Yarcraft.
Yep.
Maybe it's a Ranger. Maybe it's the same guy. I don't know. But he was well over 70 something.
That's his old boat. He had a 450R. He sold it to a guy. He now has a 500R. Like I said, I'm guessing he hung that and put that on his boat himself, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. It's a lot of horses. Now Mercury's got a 425 coming out.
Yep.
And they upped the 350. I suppose it's just juiced it up a little bit like the 400. So I've gone 71 of mine down the Mississippi and at La Crosse this year. That's good. Fast enough. Typically it's 65 to 68 with a couple people, and that nitro holds 80 gallons of fuel, so it's a hell of a lot of weight.
Yeah, that's the fuel those things hold. Yeah, no, I clipped 70. I broke my boat in right before I went to South Dakota for the first NWT, and I hit 70 there, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I know I can do 70. That's all I need to do. I don't even think I came close to that the rest of the year, and I was like, I don't need to. I know it.
I broke mine in at Pier.
Yeah,
because literally it was like I put it on the water by house here just to make sure it turned on and everything was good to go, and I had to move the live scope around, and then I went straight to Pier. And then once I hit the hours, I opened it up and I went 70, and I'm like, oh, I asked Chase, and he's like, oh yeah, 68. And I'm like, I just went 70, but it was just me and a light, and we had all that current. I'm like, all right, well, that's fast enough.
All the right things went the right way, and
it hasn't hardly gone that fast since. Once summer hits, they tend to slow down a little bit. So,
yeah,
and you hit a few sandbars and shine your skag up and all that stuff. So,
oh yeah.
2026 schedule. What are you thinking? How you're all in for next year? Looking forward to it?
Yeah. It's so funny. All the guys I go with give me grief because I'm always on the fence. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there, I think, and kind of him and haw. But man, it's such a long ways to go, and it's such a big commitment, and it is. I'm going to be there. As of right now, I'm going to be there. My wife and I are having our first child at the beginning of March.
Saw that. Congratulations. Yeah, that can change things for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've talked. I've kind of brought up fishing once or twice, and she's like, whatever, kind of like, maybe it's more like, let's not talk about it now, but I'm like, all right, well, let's not talk about it till like March, and then I'll be already, signed up and ready to go.
Right.
But no, as of right now, I plan on doing it. Like I said, the schedule's so much better next year as far as travel wise goes for like us Western guys. Yeah, and plus having the championship on SAC, it's like, it's like, that's what we fish, right? Like I live right now in my house. I'm 4 miles from the headwaters of the Missouri River. Like, so it's all reservoirs out here. It's all Missouri River reservoirs. That's all we fish. And so it's like, 2 of them in 1 year. It's like, man, we gotta make it to those for sure. So.
Right. One of them happens to be the championship, but I mean, I got some North Dakota guys that are going to jump because they want to fish SAC.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you travel with us? And he's like, well, I'm going to do the first 2 and see where they land.
Yeah.
Whether they commit to going further, east just to get the bid to go back home. So I'm like, it's kind of what I did this year. I'm like, I knew I was only going to fish 2 no matter what. I wasn't going that far east. And after having a crap year last year, I'm like, I need to stay home and work. So just like you, I don't get paid. When you're self-employed, there's not a lot of paid time off. So
yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, no, that's kind of usually how I kind of, look at the NWTs every year. I was, convince the wife, I'm like, let me go do one and see how I do. And it's like, I'm trying everything I can to do well so that I can get to go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. So it's kind of one of those, like, I play a lot of them by ear and go, once I do 1 or 2, then I'm like, well, I might as well just finish it out and go to the championship, if I can make it.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. 2 years ago, I didn't get to do it. We were building a house. And so I kind of quit halfway there. I did 2 tournaments. I fished Erie. I fished, where was that? Pool 4? Yeah, Pool 4 on the SIP. And then I called it quits after that. And then this year I was back for a full season, made the championship. Got to fish one big, beautiful day at the championship. Did all right, cashed a check there too. So like kind of ended the season on a high note. I started out pretty slow, but like the last 2 tournaments I cashed checks and did okay. Like New York, I was sitting 3rd after day 1. And so like, I was right there. I was starting to kind of click at the end of the year. And so it's like, you gotta, I'd like to carry that into next year, hopefully. And
yeah, you had a good year and you finished. I mean, those were obviously scoping tournaments and the schedule is laid out to be, you better have confidence in it because you're going to live on it. I mean,
for sure.
Erie, of course, trolling's always in play on Erie.
Yeah.
But you're going to see 90%, 80% at least living on the scopes.
Compared to like, what was that 2 years ago in the spring when we were there? I mean, this year, I bet it was 30% of guys were scoping there. And then, of course, Hoyer wins it. And, Will was right up there. Hunter was right up there. I mean, and guys kind of like went, oh, you can scope them here. And then once you start doing it, it's like, oh, yeah, this is way better. Like,
this is way more fun, right? Yeah. This is good. I scoped them there. We scoped them in practice, not great or not that. I just didn't get enough time to do it, but I wasn't set up. That tournament, I said, if I get whooped on again, I had the hummingbird up front. I ran my Mega Live. I said, if I get whooped again by scopers, I'm done. I'm going to get a Garmin. And of course, I got whooped. And by that Saturday, I got home. I went and bought the Garmin and put it in, and it went, oh, I get it. I see what you're seeing now.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know. You talk to bird guys, and there's guys that love them. I'm a Garmin guy. That's what I started doing it with, 3 years ago when I first started doing it, 4 years ago now, however long it's been. And so, yeah, that's just what I learned on, and that's just what I'm going to continue to use, so.
I love my birds, and on the Missouri River, the side imaging and the mapping it's second to none. I think, and that's what I have in my dash, but my live scope, boom. That's
I'm the same way. I got birds for mapping and side imaging and down imaging, and I just got my Garmin up front for scoping.
Yep.
And it works out pretty well. Like I like the setup that I have. So.
Yep, that's exactly what I got.
If it was 30% of boats that were scoping 2 years ago at Erie, it's going to be 90. I bet.
Yeah.
90% of guys are all going to be scoping.
I thought it'd be a challenge in the big waves, and but when it's that target rich environment, when there's that many fish around and you can basically just drift. I mean, the paddles are big, and if I can't get my boat sold and so anybody's looking, I got a boat for sale. There's got a London and Nitro for sale, folks. Yeah, the market is just what it is. But if I get a new one, I'm going to put them on there. I got to have my kicker on just as a guide, and I have to troll. I got to have it. So trying to find a way to, if I just put one on, or I've seen it. The guys have got two paddles on there, but used them at the NTC out of my buddy's boat, and I'm like, yeah, those are going to come into play. They can definitely help. It's all about boat position, really. I mean, there's a lot to it, but boat position is first and foremost.
Boat control, boat position. I ran one this year, and halfway through the season, I told myself, I'm like, if you're going to run one, run two.
Right.
That the wind, when you're using them how they're supposed to be used, like say on Erie or like when we were at Dunkirk, whatever, but like when the wind's blowing the one way, it always kind of want to walk, with one down, it always kind of wants to pull you one way a little bit. And so it's like, yeah, two would definitely be the move. And I think it just gives you that much more boat control.
Right.
And we all know like boat control is the name of the game when you're doing anything fishing. So,
yeah, that is key. And we open up the year with Erie early April. So obviously, I'm assuming pre-spawn or whatever. Everybody's going to catch fish. We're going out a different area. I've never been out of this Michigan side of it, but that puts everybody closer to the cans and, that whole basin area, which is always good.
Where one 2 years ago was out there kind of somewhat by the cans-ish.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, there's definitely going to be – it'll be interesting. I'm excited because I'm going back to somewhere that I've been. So I've done, like I said, 2.5 years. I think I've done a dozen of these tournaments now. I've yet to fish the same place twice, which is extremely difficult and frustrating. Yep. And it's just hard. Like you put the trolling motor in on Green Bay for the first time, and I'm like, okay, where do we start?
I hated Green Bay the first time I went there, and the second time, and even maybe the third time. So, and I still suck at Green Bay, but now I'm like, I get it. I understand it. I've learned to never go to the same spot, 2 days in a row. But that Green Bay is kind of its own little creature. But same thing. I fished my first couple of years. I'm like, I've never been to any of these places.
Yeah, no, that's a hard part, man. Guys ask me all the time, or we talk about like NWT and how hard it is and this and that. And I have great teammates, and if I couldn't do it without the teammates that I have, like that have been to some of these places that help us out, or help me out. But I mean, that's the hardest part about fishing NWTs is going to a place like even the Mississippi River and never being there. And it takes it takes me or like guys like me that have never been there, it takes like 2-3 days just to get your wits about you and know where this is and know where that is. And then, meanwhile, the guys that have been there 4 times, they're already pre-fishing spot A, B, C, and D that they fished, 2 years ago. And it's just like, you're playing at a disadvantage for sure. I can see where it could be a disadvantage to the guys that have been there a million times because then they think they know it. But like, it's definitely a disadvantage for guys that have never been to some of these fisheries. So like, I'm excited to go back to Erie in the spring. I think it'll be big weights. Like I think the entire schedule next year is going to be big weights. It's going to be a lot of big weights. So
Bay de Noc, I've actually never fished all the way up in there, and I've always wanted to go. So I'm like, all right, cool. And that's going to be there's big fish. We do have a slot and some variables like that, but Sakakawea Championship. And I wish we were going there as a regular season event so we could get more boats so we have numbers up. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. And at that time of year, you can catch fish from one end of that lake to the other. So honestly, I think the wild card's Mobridge in May.
I've heard that. Everyone kind of saw that on the schedule and their eyes lit up and went, "Oh my gosh, Hawaii!" And the few people I've heard talk about it, I've been there that early, but I was super young. I don't really remember it. Like in my professional career, like in my fishing career, I've never been there. But I've heard that I've heard May can be kind of hit or miss. Like it can be really really tough in May, or it can be good. But like the more I hear and the more guys I talk to, it sounds like it can just be really really hard in May. Like
I think it depends on water clarity. It could be muddy, which that's going to make it tough. I've talked to friends that have fished at that time of year. A Casino Cup, I think, went out of there a year ago or so, and they were big weights. Everybody knows at Hawaii at this point, you get 2 overs, 1 over 20 each person, 2 overs, or just 2 per boat because we have party fishing allowed in South Dakota.
Yep.
But your overs on Hawaii are looking at 8+ pounds.
That's going to be the hard part, I guess. When I say it's hard, like I think you're going to catch fish. It's going to be what are you keeping for your overs because they're going to have to be big. You know what I mean? Like they're going to have to.
I mean, your 2 overs are your most important fish. It doesn't matter if you don't have the other 3. If you don't have 18 to 20 pounds on your 2 overs, the way tournaments are going up there right now, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, and it's like that time of the year too. It's are those big fish going to spawn out and then run down and then are your unders going to be? It might be a situation where your unders and your 2 overs are going to be 30 miles apart from each other. It's a big body of water, and if the wind's blowing or this doesn't, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of variables out there, and but it'll be fun. Like I said, Western Reservoir, and I'm excited for it. So
it'll be fun. We'll catch them no matter what the conditions are. I think we'll catch them, and it could be a place where something off the wall kind of gets them figured out. And your unders are definitely going to come into play. I mean, you got to have overs, but I think that there appears to be a really good, healthy population of those 18, 19 inchers.
Yeah.
So you get 3, really nice 19s. Yeah, that's probably what it's going to come down to.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely got to get your unders and it's going to be how risky do you get with the overs? What are you putting back?
Right. Like always, and it's the catch, photo, release stuff is so appealing when you're at these slot tournaments. You're like, you don't have to worry about it, and then coming off of Lake Erie where you can coal, to where it's no brainer. You just throw the first 5 in the box and you just upgrade all day. Now you're like, but that's why we practice, right? As we figure it out and be like, all right, this is it.
Yep.
You got to have ice veins. So.
Yeah.
And then we go over to Green Bay, which who knows what the boundaries are going to be. I'm hoping we do Wisconsin and Michigan.
That's kind of
back to back.
That's what guys are assuming is that we'll do Green Bay, Wisconsin waters for the 1, and then we'll do Michigan waters for Bay de Noc.
Yep.
I as well. I've never been that far north. I guess even this time, for the championship, I didn't really run. I was somewhat north, I guess, but not obviously like Bay de Noc north. There were some guys that did. And they did pretty well, but that was a long boat ride, and it was bumpy out there. But it paid off for them because they both got to fish on the second day. So, and that was just 2 of the guys that I know that for sure went up there. But I'm sure there was more. But I think that one will be fun too. And I think anytime you can be on Green Bay, like I said, it was my first time there this championship. But you hear all the stories and how great it is, and it's oh my gosh, it's giant fish, this that. Well, it can be the exact opposite, and real finicky and real difficult too from what I learned. So
you don't catch a lot of fish.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's days, and I guess I've had a few, depending on what time of year you're there, where you catch a lot. Obviously, not this year, but the year before, there definitely was not a lot of fish caught at all. With our 3-fish limit, and very few 3-fish limits even came in. But years, prior to that, it's just, and they're big. I think the Green Bay walleye are the funnest to catch. They're the most angry, big, bulky, strong, big shoulder type fish. And the color, from one end, if you go up north, those gold and black, they're beautiful fish. So
yeah, it's a cool place to fish for sure. Like I said, it's my first time, and I'm looking forward to getting back there, especially now that I kind of have an idea of where everything is. Like I said, it's so nice to go into an NWT schedule and have been to multiple of these places and go, okay, well, I know where I'm starting a month in advance. I'm like, I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to do. It's kind of like, so that part I'm looking forward to for sure. So.
Well, there's a disadvantage to not knowing a new place, because you go places that other people aren't, because you're trying to figure it out, and you're using all that fish sense you got in your maps, and sometimes that pans out. I used to love going to new bodies of water, and in our team, I'm always the shallow guy. I'm going 110 foot. I got all that covered because that's where I like to fish, and Takasaki was going to go over here, Rainey was going to go over there, whatever the case was. But after you go back a few times, you understand, okay, the current in Green Bay or on Lake Erie and how these things set up, or Sakakawea. And there's so many. It definitely makes it a lot easier when you've been there.
Yeah.
But there's but like I said, you get there too many times, then you're fishing memories, and you got a disadvantage too, because you can get
for sure. Especially those big ones. It can be very daunting when you put your boat in for the first time on Green Bay. It's not that big, and you get to go in the cross. You're like, yeah, it's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
And, so yeah, no, it's gonna be fun to get into a place where exactly, like I know where I'm going, or I'm gonna have an idea as to where I'm going. So
my first NWT tournament was on Lake Erie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I was just told all these horror stories, and I got there, and it was April, and it was beautiful all week. It was like, in shorts, flat calm, had one day, got a little windy, and we went in at noon, but still caught some, there's a 30-incher on the wall right over here.
Yeah.
From Lake Erie. So if I can even turn it, you can see it there, there. And I'm like, well, this wasn't so hard, and then tournament days was like glass too, but it hasn't hardly been like that since I've been back. So I got spoiled. I'm like, well, Lake Walleye is worse than this, but it was like, this isn't, you got lucky. You get a whole week of good weather, which isn't what you normally get in the spring.
Pretty unheard of. We kind of had that at Green Bay for the championship this year. It was unbelievably beautiful all week long. But they were super finicky. They were super tough to catch. And that was kind of for everybody. Everybody was kind of struggling, and the wind was projected to blow pretty big on tournament day. And everyone that had been there that knew it was like, it's fine. They're going to go when the wind blows. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm not joking about it. It was to the point where I catch one fish, 3 fish in one day. The next day I caught 2. The day after that I caught 1. And I'm like, I know what I'm looking at now, and I know kind of where they're at, that water temperature. But I'm like, there's so many fish that reject me, that I'm staring at. They follow it and go, nah, last second. And it's like everybody that was from there was like, you wait till the wind blows. They just need a little wind. They need a little weather. The temperature's supposed to drop, which could be, hit or miss. But with that wind blowing, they're definitely go. And they did. It wasn't crazy, but they went on tournament day, and when
it counts.
They knew.
So. That place does. I've seen that happen way too many times. Where I'm going to get flat, calm, and now water's pretty clean. Even if you're down in the mud, it's like, you get just a little wind picks up and boom, But the guys have big bags one day, and the weather changes, and you can only do so much. They don't want to eat. They don't want to eat. It is. You can be on them, and you're watching them, and now with scope, you're like, this thing is sitting on their nose, and they're not going to go.
Yeah, it can be frustrating.
The frustrating aspect of live scope. All right. Well, we've been chatting up here for a bit. Let's wrap this up. Cody, leave these listeners, if you got one little nugget to leave, a piece of advice to help them on their tournament fishing or angling, anything outdoors. You got any tips, tricks?
Yeah. I guess I'll just go with tournament fishing maybe, and just kind of my view on it. And just the whole process of cutting your teeth, man. I signed up for an NWT as a co-angler one time. I fished with a guy that I knew actually out of Washington State the first day, and then I drew Gary Parsons on day 2. And after fishing with Gary Parsons for a day, he's the coolest dude in the world and told me more stories than he probably should have. And, it was great. But, he gave me the confidence to tell me that you can fish with these guys, Cody. I fished with you for a day. You can fish with these guys. And that sometimes that's all it takes. And, but the biggest thing I was going to get at is that, like, you got to cut your teeth, man. Like I said, going to some of these places I've never been and like this and that and trying to find good teammates. And, it's hard. It's hard to cash a check on the NWT. I don't care what all these guys out here that say, it's just, blah, blah, blah. They're going to fish the same places every year. And it's, you hear there's a lot of naysayers out there, but those naysayers don't ever really seem to sign up. And it's like, come put your money in and then let's see how good you are for $2,000. You know what I mean? But it's hard. It's hard. And I think the only way to get through it and get sponsors and, make the right connections is you just kind of got to cut your teeth and you got to grind through it and you got to battle through it. And there's going to be some years that do not go your way. And, just getting to the point where you can start cashing checks is going to be a huge success. And then from there, there's very few guys that just dive into the NWT that kind of like blow up right away. Like look at Tom Wynn. Tom Wynn's blown up the last couple of years, but he was also killing it like on the Minnesota, tournament stuff for a couple of years before that. But there's a lot of guys that get in the NWT and it's a long road and it takes them many, 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 many tournaments to start getting the hang of it and start cashing checks and start, getting the confidence to, hey, I can fish with these guys. And so, I think diving in on the co-angler side for a year for a few events is something that guys should probably look at. I'm glad that I did it for the one tournament that I did it. Even just to look and get the feel for it and see how it all works. And everything like that. So that's one thing I'd say is like some of these guys that are thinking about it, maybe hop in as a co-angler for an event, maybe a couple events, and then, just kind of trust the process. It's going to take a while and test your abilities and your frustrations and everything else. But
frustrating. I good get this co-anglers to jump in. I never did it. And I think you're right. Just to get the flow and maybe they'll understand the expectations or kind of the rhythm and speed and, because you're going to fish with two different guys and you may have a night and day difference too.
Yeah.
This guy's super go, and you got someone who's pretty chill, laid back and whatever.
Even just getting used to fishing in the boat with a complete stranger is nerve-wracking. The first time I did it, I was like, this guy's going to hate me. I don't know if I'm not going to try to beat him up. I'm going to, X, Y, and Z. It's like, I hope he likes me at the end of the day. But I mean, I've never really had a bad co-angler. They've all been great. For the most part, you hear some horror stories. There's a bad egg here and there, but everyone that I've ever had has been great. They really enjoy it. And it's fun to share the boat with them and teach them something if they want to be taught and, or help you out, catch a fish or two and pull their weight. And so,
you could definitely tell they're nervous. I get plenty of that. Sometimes they're a little too nervous, but I get it. You got to start somewhere, but I mean, a lot of that comes down on us too, to try to get you to settle in, guys. I always tell them like, we're just fishing, man. It's time to fish, but I'm like, it's just fishing.
At the end of the day, it's just fishing. That's right.
It's just fishing. And I'm sure you know how, and this isn't the first time you've touched a rod and reel. I mean, I think we used to get some of that. I don't think you get that anymore. I think our coes are pretty solid.
Yeah, no, most of the coes are pretty solid, and most of them are there to learn. Honestly, most of them are there to watch you and learn and be super helpful in the boat. And yeah, like I said, I've yet to have a bad one. They're all pretty great dudes, but yeah, I think it's definitely something that some of these younger guys should look into, and or just not even younger guys. If you're just interested in maybe thinking about jumping to the NWTs, it definitely doesn't hurt to hop in as a co-angler and at least check it out, try it, and get your feet wet a little bit before you.
And just like, just like you, most of them did it for a year, and I've had plenty in the boat where I'm like, you can totally be on this side.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the financial thing of it, or like you said, I just want to check it out, see where it is. And I always ask them, some are like, nope, no interest in whatever. I just want to do it for the year to learn some new bodies of water or just have some fun and just learn. I just want to learn stuff that I can take back to my fun fishing or my local tournaments or whatever the case is. But there's always like a half dozen guys that move up, after a year or two of co-angling. And that's kind of how it's supposed to work.
Yeah. No, there's definitely good co-anglers out there that are like sticks. Like the first kid I ever had, I say kid, he's like my age. was on the Illinois River, and I asked him like halfway through the day, I was like, why are you fishing as a canoe? Like, you know,
You're good to go, man.
you have a boat this side, like you could be right beside me. Like if I can do this, you can do this. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Yep.
But yeah, you have a few like that every year where we're like, man, you're a stick, dude. You got this. Like, you could do it, you know? So,
Yep.
But yeah,
like you said, you got to cut your teeth, dive in. I was told the more tournaments you fish, Jake Collier was on here once, said he did like 27 tournaments one year. And and since that year, he's been climbing. Jake's just cleaning house everywhere he goes.
Jake's been on a 2-year run. That's crazy.
Right. And it was like the year before that, he did 24 tournaments. I'm like, it just makes you better because you learn how to process. And
you know, his first NWT, you know, few seasons, like he didn't cash any checks, and I'm not meaning to bring on. He's a good buddy. He's a buddy of mine. So but like I'm saying, like it's hard, man. It's hard. Like he went from not cashing checks for I don't know how many years to being one of the probably top 2-3 anglers on the NWT the last 2 seasons. Like he's right there. So it's like one of the best there is. And so, yeah, it's just, that's what I'm saying. Like it takes time. It takes time to cut your teeth and learn the bodies of water and just kind of, figure it out.
It does indeed. So there you go, folks. If you need some practice, jump into the Big Ten Showdown on Lake Sakakawea next, I don't know what it is, into September.
Yeah.
Hey folks, Brian Shore here with Clean Cut Cutting Boards. This thing is awesome. I always carry one along with me in the truck for days like today where I find myself just getting off the water. We got a couple, nice walleyes that we kept to eat for tonight. And the fish cleaning station is broke down, or a lot of times early spring and in the fall they're closed, right? A lot of places people don't have fish cleaning stations, or whether you're somewhere really remote, you're back at your cabin or your camper, you find yourself after a good day of fishing, you got some fish to clean and you don't have anywhere to do it. I always have this Clean Cut in the back of my truck, ready to go anywhere. That's what's awesome about them. They come in 2 different sizes, a variety of colors to meet your needs. These things are just all-purpose and on the go. You can flip this thing over, and if you're having a big gathering or something, it's basically got a big bowl on the back to put your pulled pork in it. You can make a vegetable tray, whatever it may be. It is more than just a cutting station. It is a very, very versatile, durable unit made by Rufflin Kennels. So check them out over at rufflinkennels.com for the Clean Cut Cutting Station. Try it out. I guarantee you're going to love it like I do.
Go over the this big Lewis and Clark Big Ten, I think, is their Facebook page. You can go follow it. Kind of Jeff will put information out there throughout the year. Obviously, most of it will come in the fall, as that is a late fall tournament. But please sign up, come out and try to take Cody and I's money. So we'd be happy to see you.
It's a good one to end the season on. That's always my favorite.
It is.
It's like I always know, like this is my last tournament of the year. Every year I'm going to go out at the Big Ten, and after that, then it's hunting season and whatever. So it's like it's always just a nice little nightcap, if you will, for tournament season. That's why I always look forward to it. It's a great tournament. So.
Yep, exactly. I feel you. I feel the exact same way about it, and I hope Jeff and everybody keep putting it on, because as long as they have it, we'll keep coming back. So. And so that's that. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you a ton, Cody, for giving us some insights, and good luck next season. We're going to see you on the trail. It's going to be here before we know it. Hopefully, elk hunting goes good, and I'm going to see some post on your Facebook page about that, and
hopefully,
and bring some elk jerky and sticks next year on the trail. So I want some. So that stuff, man, elk tastes good. So we just went to Colorado over this last week and watched the Broncos game. That was a heart stressor because it was a boring 3 quarters, but it was a hell of a last 6 minutes. So
I've seen that, some pictures. You guys seen some elk. It looked like fun.
Yeah, we hit one every year, and I thought, the Giants be an easy game, because I've never been to a losing game. I've been to a lot of Broncos games, and they've won every one I've been to. So I'm like, now I kind of look at the schedule and go, I'm going to pick the Panthers or somebody that sucks to make sure they win. But then the Giants were on a roll, and I'm like, this game's going to be tough. Then they came out when they had all the stuff going on, the Ring of Fame, Demaryius Thomas, all these things going on, Super Bowl 50 there. I'm like, there's no way. But coming off London, and the Broncos offense is just so inconsistent right now. And then the first 3 quarters was like, this is horrible. I told my wife, I'm like, we can't come back at this point. And then we do.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Got good at the end there for sure. So
I'm just sitting there and telling her, I said, this And it said, this relates to fishing. This is why you never give up.
Yeah.
I mean, right here. This is it. I look at it, I'm like, never give up. I said, this game will stick in my head when I'm struggling or I got 1 hour to go. And I'm like, nope, you can do it.
Last couple casts here. Like, it can always happen. It
can. It never does. I've never been in that tournament where I got that one on the last cast. I've got it on the day or the guide trip. But I'm like, that means you're due, right? Sooner or later.
I always feel like I waste them. I waste them on days where I'm like, whether I catch this fish or not, I'm not finishing in the top, 20.
Right.
Last cast, I'll catch one, and I'm like, well, I think I just wasted it. So could
right. Yeah. Maybe. Damn it, I got it, but it's only going to put me in 25th now, so I could have saved that one. No.
Yeah.
All right. You get me going on football. I could be here all night long. So, anyhow, once again, thanks, Cody, and thank all you for tuning in to this episode of Real Talk Fishing. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the water.